card that you guys online, and ladies, of course. Tonight's going to be a little different than a normal workshop that you're used to, just because we don't have any county committees set up at this point, so tonight we'll call it just an organizational type meeting. So we'll try to establish all those committees that we have to have by statute. A lot of them I've already set up and already talked to some of the people involved. As far as these additional ones, if you look at the first one, as far as the emergency services, building and grounds, finance, intergovernmental, community development, and budget committee, those are the recommendations that I've established, and it's not set in stone, but also left the chairs for each one of these committees open as well, and let the committee itself appoint, or hopefully a qualified personnel to serve as the chair. Also, I want to make sure, congratulate everyone on their successful campaign. And I look forward to 4 years ahead, and hopefully it'll be very beneficial to Scott County. And it's also, as far as mine is concerned, it's good to be back, and I look forward to the 4 years of prosperous times, I hope. So I guess to start out, we should go ahead and, first off, let me ask if there's anybody that just is not happy with the assignments they've got as far as the committees that they've been appointed to. If not, I guess we can go to, this will all be voted on at the regular session in 13 days, so on the 17th is when we'll actually make this official. But tonight I just need to get for the committees to start out. We'll just start out with the first one on the list, which is Emergency Services Committee. And if we can get the members of that, those 7 members of that committee to appoint a chair, we'll go ahead and have that set up, and we'll vote on it again in 2 weeks. So between David Day, Jared Jeffers, Kenny Morrow, Shonda Gray, Harold Chambers, Donnie Bowen, and Benny Carson, we need to appoint a chairman of that committee. And it's usually best to appoint a chair. There's nothing against newcomers or anything, but it's usually, it helps when someone got a little experience under the belt to take those chair positions. But it's not against the rules. We've had it in the past where newly elected officials are put in the chairman position, and it's worked out quite well. So if you guys don't want to make the appointments, I'll do it myself if you want. However you guys want to do it. Well, I'll make a recommendation, even though it's against what I just said, but I would make a recommendation since nobody's jumping out of their chair to volunteer for this position. I would appoint Jared Jeffers with his connection with emergency services, would be an experienced person to put in that position. That would be my recommendation. I'm not part of the committee.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
So I guess we're just sending it to the full court. If there anybody else wants to compete for that position, you can speak. But otherwise, we'll go ahead and assign that position to Mr. Jared Jeffers. Next up is the Buildings and Grounds Committee. David Jeffers, Jared Jeffers, Kenny Morrow, Shonda, Harold, Patty, and Benny. Patty Brown, and Benny Carson. It is a relatively important group, a very committee that we need to have someone.
I recommend Kenny.
Pardon?
I recommend Kenny.
Kenny Morrow. Somebody else want to shoot for that? Kenny, do you object to that? Commissioner Morrow. Commissioner Morrow. Do you object to being chairman of that committee?
I wasn't listening.
So the Buildings and Grounds Committee, you've been nominated by one of the committee members, Commissioner Gray, to serve as chairman of that board, that committee.
I'd rather not at this time.
Well, we're narrowing it down, only 6 more to choose from. David Jeffers. Thank you, Dave. committee, so the committee members, as you can see, are statutorily the mayor, the road superintendent, director of schools. So there's also Sheila Buttram, Kenny Chadwell, Harold Chambers, and Mike Slavin. Mike Slavin has been the chairman on that committee for many years and has always done a fine job with it. No protest, we'll go ahead and continue with that. Next up, the intergovernmental committee, which is Blue Day, Jerry Jeffers, Kenny Morrow, Kenny Chadwell, Paul Strunk, Patty Brown, and Mike Slavin.
I did the last 2 years, I'm fine with continuing that.
Pardon?
I'm fine with continuing that.
Okay. Community development is next with Sam Wiles, David Jeffers, Sheila Buttram, Sean McGray, Paul Strunk, Donnie Bowen, and Benny Carson.
Mr. Mayor, I've done that for 4 to 6 years. If that be the pleasure of the rest of the members, I'll take that.
Any objections? Now, one of the, let's see, Ms. Goldberg, Mike's missing. But budget committee is Sam Miles, Patty Brown, Mike Slavin, Kenny Chadwell, and Paul Strunk. I know Mr. Lyles has stated that he does not want to do it. That's another one. You've got some very qualified individuals on that board. Any one of us could handle it. Mike Slavin. Let's see, how many do we
Those that
have?
are actually get nominated.
Pardon?
Those that are actually get nominated.
He did a great job
We'll
last
just go on your regular thing, you do. Fine.
So you can blame it on me.
You can blame it on you, that's exactly right.
I recommend Mike Slavin as well. So I guess we're going to Tokyo. That's complete for the first group of 6. The other ones I've added on that I've already got agreements with. With the airport authority, there's one commissioner that's supposed to serve on that board, and Sam Lyles has been on it for the last 4 years. And Commissioner Lyles was under objection, would be willing to do it again. And we can always reestablish this after next year if you don't want to move out. But that's one that's already established. The other one is the reappointment of the whole list of things. Title VI coordinator, OSHA coordinator, safety director, as well as a litter recycling coordinator. And Commissioner Gray can tell you that's a time-consuming task, and that will be appointed to Sabrina Terry in Worksession office starting today. So that one is established as well. The other ones that I do not have a list for, I don't know if we have to do this today, but emergency communications board, is that normally appointed by us, or is that, or just the county
We
commission?
appoint a county representative on that.
And the county representative was Kenny Chadwell at the last time. So, you want to tell us a little bit about that board in case you don't want to do it, or does someone else?
Well, it's, third month, every 2 months. Meet on the first Thursday of the month. Discuss more about budgeting and spending of equipment and things along those lines. It's a time-consuming, I would say, position. And I'll be willing to allow someone else to serve on that, but willing to do so. If there's somebody interested in taking that spot.
If not, you will take it again.
If this body may miss me too, I will, sir.
Thank you for your stepping up to the plate, sir. Unless I didn't give it time for anyone else in the budget, would you be interested?
No,
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Okay. That takes care of that one. Solid Waste Board, which is appointed by, nominated by the Intergovernmental Committee. This would be we wait on that one?
Probably wait on that. I think there's been a change from the towns on that. We probably need to double check to see who's still on that.
Okay.
We could probably wait till October to do that. Because I know there's an Oneida representative, a Bloomfield representative, and a Huntsville representative.
It was at one time. Harold, the Commissioner Chamber, you served on that board 4 years ago, did you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's been a while, so.
Sheila, are you still representing Huntsville on the solid waste board? You don't think so? Those, all of those probably need to be updated.
Okay. We'll mess with that in October then.
It appears to be the council chambers that I did.
The next one is the Ethics Committee, which Jimmy Bird has agreed to serve again. This committee has never been called into action. It is just, they review, if I remember correctly, they take a complaint, review it, to see if the complaint has any merit, and then it's referred on. Is that correct?
Yeah, it has met one time. It has not met in the last term.
Okay.
It met in the previous term, maybe the term before. But it is required.
So last time it was Rick Russ, Kenny Chadwell, Robin Newman, and Patty Brown with Jimmy Bird on that committee.
I'd be willing to serve again.
As well, I'm sure.
Thanks, sir. We just need to fill the spots of Rick Russ and Robin Newman. Just 2 more spots and we'll have that committee done.
Oh,
Just need someone to fill Robin Newman's position.
I'll serve.
Is there ready? Here's one that does meet on occasion. Presently, it's been served by June Jeffers, Sheila Butchman, and Robin McBroom to serve on the beer board. I know there's some people in this commission that do not want to serve on the beer board, so we will not try to influence that change, but we do need to, would you like to stay back on the beer board? Don't mind. And so we just need to replace June Jeffers and Robin McBroom. This is probably the only all-woman committee we have.
And we did it this way?
Okay.
I don't care to get to serve.
Patty Brown,
I'll go with it.
okay. That concludes all the committees that I had. The one thing, I don't have anything else as far as committee concerns unless you, any of the commissioners have anything they'd like to talk about. Yes,
We
ma'am?
have a Parks and Recreation Committee.
That is right, and that one for some reason didn't get pulled up.
It usually meets at 5 on the Worksession meetings.
Sound like a TV show.
So,
How many people serve on that committee?
five or six. Larry, Ken Chadwell, Chad Markham, Jim Jeffers,
Rick was on
Rick Ross,
it. Sonny Ray.
and Sonny
Had
Ray.
four commissioners, Mr. Mayor, 2 at-large positions, and 1 Scott County School Board member. That's how we established.
We'll have that ready for the next, the regular session. Anything else? the only thing I have left for tonight is just to go over a few things that are targeted, as far as what I've been working on already. Today, the Burntmill Bridge, which is something that we're gonna be, the mayor was notified on February of 2016. The letter I looked at today was another letter submitted by the Park Service of March of 2017. The letter states that there was an agreement between the Park Service and the mayor, which is Bob Murphy, and the road superintendent, Dick Sexton at the time, that stated that the Burntmill Bridge would be maintained by the county and the road department and maintained as a pedestrian walkway. And, or if it was failed to meet safety standards, either the county and the roads department would fix it, and if not fix it, they would pay to have it removed. So I've been going through a number of approaches on if we have to remove it, which I know no one's going to be happy with. Or we're also talking to the road superintendent about going down there and looking to see what would be required to actually fix it and get an acceptable condition for the Park Service to let it be continued to be used as a pedestrian walkway. It is totally unsafe at this point in time. The last time I was down there about 3 weeks ago, I wouldn't want to have any of my kids or myself walking across that bridge. So something has to be done one way or another. And the Park Service is pushing the issue now, which I don't blame them. There's a lot of liability on them. I'm sure there's a connected liability with us since we've assumed through the letter that said we would maintain it, which obviously has not been done. So that's one of the things that's being discussed right now. I've been going through our personnel policy and just looking for updates and changes. I found numerous things. I'm only halfway through it, and there's probably 30 different things that need to be changed or updated. Commissioner Jeffers has been looking at this as well. So it will be, anyone else has any input on the personnel policy, they would be more than happy to take your input. I was also nominated today to be chairman of the North RPO, which is the Rural Planning Organization for TDOT. Recommended by Terry Bobrowski of the East Tennessee Development District to take that position. So I took it, and that will hopefully help us when it comes to get us in better positions for road projects. Right now I'm also been working with Ken Yeager, Senator Yeager, and working with TDOT to go in and set up a meeting to establish and discuss the project that's being it's not proposed, it's already getting ready to happen. They're taking out the 90-degree turn and south end of Oneida to get that project back on track to where it's supposed to be. Originally, when I left office in 2014, we were #1 project to get this corrected, and the project started near the Boys and Girls Club with the 4-lane ends on the south end of town, all the way to the 4-lane on where it begins on the north end of town near the Oak Grove Red Light. And in those 4 years, I was reappointed to the RPO representing the town of Oneida, and when I came in, we were a 7 priority, and it had been reduced from a 2.9-mile project to a 0.1-mile project. So, and then when this happens, if it were to go as it is now, the project identification number, which takes years to get done, would actually go away the way it's set now. As soon as this project taking the 90-degree turn is taken out, this project would be off the books, and that'd be the end of the story for it. So I'm meeting with Paul Degas, the executive commissioner of the Department of Transportation, with Kennedy Yeager to explain the story, hopefully get it back online, or we can at least keep the project going and just consider the 90-degree turn as a spot improvement and not just the overall project. Because the 90-degree turn, the original project was established to alleviate traffic and traffic flows to the town of Oneida, and obviously reducing or eliminating 90-degree turn is not going to solve that problem. So the meeting will be to keep the project on the books and continue to work and concentrate more heavily on the Oak Grove area to try to improve traffic flow through there. Anyone who lives in Scott County trying to get to that intersection on 3 o'clock on the first of the month, you know, it's a 30-minute wait. Sometimes, many times. I'm sure everyone is going to attest to that. So that meeting is being scheduled. I've been working on that for 2 weeks now to get that done. Also, I'm working on comp time because on the books, I just met with Ms. Timmons today, got $125,000 of liability and comp time sitting out there that needs to be worked on, so that will be worked on with all the department heads that are involved with this. And it's quite a few department heads, it's not just one, some more than others, but almost every department has that issue with comp time. Another thing was I'm going through all our maintenance and recycle, all people involved with that, getting the personnel, all their duties, and trying to align some of those, because some of the reason our comp time, I believe, is popping up in our department is because there's not a good balance between the duties and the assignments of that group, especially in the maintenance department. Next on the list I've got is going through cell phones. When I was here, and Commissioner Gray can attest to that, we went through cell phones continuously, and then looking at the numbers are right back up where it was 5-6 years ago. So we need to be going back through our cell phone numbers and to establish a cell phone policy to reduce those expenses down. Every little bit helps. Also been checking on the non-statutorily required services. I won't get into the ones in particular, but looking at their financials to see what we can do to boost their income and of course always reduce expenses. One of the ones that I was really impressed with that I found today was I was thoroughly impressed with the numbers coming out of the juvenile center. They are doing extremely well, and I'm very happy to see that. A lot of people were concerned when I was running that I was going to be closing that center, and that was absolutely not the case. I just always like to keep my eye on all the numbers and see if everyone's doing the best they can to be keeping the expenses down and doing their best to keep the income up, revenue sources up, and apparently that's being done. No, that doesn't mean that our juveniles are becoming more delinquent because I know their checks are rolling in. Another one I have is lease and rental income. There seems to be some deviations up around trying to get that number where we're more consistent as far as the numbers of what's coming in and the kind of delays. I remember when I came into office 8 years ago, we had somebody who hadn't paid rent in almost 3 years and it had not been picked up on. And that was immediately fixed and terminated, and that building's been fixed up, and the personnel involved, the tenants, I guess I should say. Those are just a few things I've been working on today in the last couple of weeks. Like I said, I'm into the numbers situation, so everything's about numbers. I know when it comes to things like the Burnt Mill Bridge, a lot of people have sentimental attachment to projects like that, but it still comes down to money and the dollar amount that's going to be required and what the benefits would be to keep it. Some of the things are intangibles where you can't put a dollar amount to do a study on those kind of things, but it is something this board's going to have to deal with very, very soon, this Burnt Mill Bridge project. So I'm sure your constituents, since this is on television right now, will be calling you and telling, especially in the 2nd District, on what they think about that project right now. So, of course, a lot of people want things to be preserved, but then they don't want to pay the money to do it. So we're in a situation where we have to find a balance, study all the possible solutions and come up with the best one that's best for the overall county. And that's pretty much all I have for tonight's meeting. Any questions or comments?
How long do you think it's gonna take you to go through with whoever on the Burnt Mill Bridge to find out some of the options, like maybe grants or whatever?
The grant situation, from what I was told today, the grant situation, we've already used that one, and there was another one just applied for, so we're looking at 2 years out, probably, but she's checking to see if there's any other possible grants that we can get. Hopefully, I wouldn't think we'd be looking at near the price tag that was used for the O&W Bridge, which is a $50,000 grant, and that bridge is in very good shape. And they did a very good job with that grant to get it done. And the Park Service is tickled pink was the term I was told. But also the Park Service considers, what was the term they used on the nuisance? What was we and I talked about it today. The Park Service called that the bridge in the Burnt Mill, they called it attractive nuisance or something like that, which is obviously an oxymoron. But as far as timeline, without considering the grant, I would say we'd be able to find all the possible solutions in 2 months. Just if we don't have any possibility of a grant, that should be taken care of. And I'll be talking to the superintendent of the park very soon. I'll let messages with the building, it should be the buildings and grounds type lady. Joanna, I can't remember the last name right off the top of my head. But she's on vacation this week, so I'll be having calls with her next week. And hopefully we'll get some good solution to that. But right now, I agree, it is a very ugly approach to that bridge. And it looks good when you're sitting down by the creek bank and looking up back at it, but as far as when you're making the approach to the bridge from the Mountain View side, it is not a very attractive situation. So we need to do something very quickly.
You talked to the road department about their input, or
Yes, I met with Calvin this morning, and Mr. King said we'd go down sometime this week. I told him today was not a good day because I had this and other things, but also I had a signing of the suicide prevention proclamation today, and that could go on with right in the middle of the time frame where it would be best to go down there. But he said he would go down with me and we look at it, try to figure out what exactly is involved to get it fixed. Apparently there were engineers that looked at it, the same people that came and looked at the ONW bridge, and the engineers went down and looked at the Burkeville bridge, and they said when they were walking on it, a huge section of wood fell right off from the decking right to the river. They were also saying, which if that was just the problem, putting boards down on the decking, that would probably not be a problem, but apparently the engineers said that the concrete abutments and supports are falling apart in chunks. So that's where the money will be getting in real quick, I'm sure. So, but he has to answer your question, yes, I have to, brother, for you. So gung-ho to get started for the next 4 years.
Mr. Mayor, since meetings haven't fully been approved, there will be a finance committee meeting next Monday,
That
correct?
was also discussed as well, because we had an understanding,
We have some bids out there, but we're not going to open them until the following month,
the following month.
October.
Okay. Before we were gonna do it right after the commission meeting, and the committees were set, this is the first I've heard of it. It's changed since
That's
this
what I
morning.
assumed was we do
It's
it.
changed since this morning, so that we have, so there will not be a finance committee meeting this month, and it will be next month, so we have to deal with. That makes a lot of sense. Anything, if there's nothing else, thank you everyone for coming, and we'll see you in 13 days.